So Bling Empire is back on Netflix, and it's really, really wicked to see the Asian lives of these characters that are spending absolutely ludicrous amounts of money in Beverly Hills. This all is really, really cool to kind of see that kind of thing from a reality TV perspective. However, I just feel like the second season just isn't as strong as last time. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So the second season of Bling Empire has landed, and it's really, really wicked to revisit all of the escapist extravagance that these real life people, the real life versions of Crazy Rich Asians, are living. And it's really, really cool to kind of see all of their luscious lives taking place. I just would say that the first season of Bling Empire was just absolutely unbelievable. The second season isn't able to be as great. I'm guessing the main reason for this is that the first season had loads of big, massive parties. And obviously due to COVID, this had to be restricted somewhat. And, you know, they did do as good of a job as they could have done, given all of the limitations. But I just feel like it wasn't as strong as last time. But that being said, there is so much gossip happening this time around. And you really can see the impact of that on all of the different characters' friendships and all of the impact it also has on the people that they are gossiping about as well. And this season is also a lot more sexualized than last season as well, which is really, really hilarious. And I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this TV series review. So we're going to be combining storylines and characters together into one section. So let's start with Kreider, who was a true big narrator in the first season, much less of a narrator this time around, as I guess the audience have become affiliated with this world and all of the other characters that inhabit it as well. But I would say Kevin is still the one that the audience are able to connect with the most, especially as he is entering this world from somewhat of a normal perspective. And I thought it was so fascinating, him and Kim's relationship, as he was truly and clearly really obsessed with her and really smitten by her, but she was just stringing this guy along like there's no tomorrow. And I thought it was really eye-opening as well, the way in which she was gaslighting him as well. When she is clearly in the wrong, she is always looking for ways to distract this and just focus it on something else and someone else and trying to blame the other person when she's actually in the wrong. I thought it was just so fascinating. And I think he made the absolute right realization by the end of this season that actually they are so much better off as friends, as this relationship could have been really, really toxic had they continued. And also the fact that she made him do a lie detector. I mean, the sequences were really, really eye-opening as well. Whereas actually it was the opposite. She didn't really want to be in a relationship with him, and actually he was a lot more trustworthy than she maybe even made him out to be. So it was really, really fascinating. But like I said, I think it was the right decision that by the end of this season, they're not going to be together anymore. Kane Lim, I thought, was just so annoying this season. You can really see what Dorothy was talking about when she was just describing him as being really, really insufferable, as he made everything about him and just really was interfering. And you could really see when all of the other characters were challenging him, actually he was in the wrong totally. I think it's a little bit disappointing actually, as in the previous season he was actually really, really likable and really was somewhat the glue that held the entire group together. Whereas this time, gosh, he was, if anything, breaking the group. And I just feel, like I said, he was just making everything about him instead of other people, which I personally found really, really irritating. So let's talk about another character whose name also begins with K. Gosh, Kris Jenner would be so proud of all of the characters in this world. So let's talk about Kim Lee, who is a true Kylie Jenner lookalike, speaking of the Kardashian/Jenners. And this character, gosh, you can tell that she's a very good looking girl and that everybody's eyes are always on her and she clearly knows it. And you can really see that she is so full of herself as a result. For example, the way in which she was just stringing Kevin along was just absolutely ridiculous. And whenever anybody would try to criticize her, for example, when she didn't even show up to their date in the first instance, and also when she was just making some attacks on Anna as well, she's always just deflecting the blame, like I said before, and just isn't able to take any sense of responsibility. So a bit of a toxic character, but I just feel like she is also really, really fascinating to watch at the same time. So let's talk about another character whose name also begins with K, which is Kelly. She didn't do as much this season. I feel like in the last season she was very much front and center, especially with her relationship with Andrew, and it would have been nice to see a little bit more of this character and how she's trying to move on. But that being said, the scenes that you do see where she's doing this, I thought were really, really great. For example, when she got the sexual healer to try to help her and really bring her down to nature, and just the ways in which she was trying to get over this, I thought was really, really great. But I guess she was always there in the group sequences and was just being a bit more of a supporting character this time around. It will be really interesting next season after the cliffhanger from this one. Next up, let's talk about Christine. Again, she wasn't as prominent as last season. I feel like last season she was really, really great, but what you do see in this season is a bit of a continuation of the rivalry with Anna. Like I said, not as great as last time, But I do feel like these two characters are really, really great. I feel like both of them are a lot more camera aware this time around, as last time their rivalry was just super iconic and just absolutely brilliant. Whereas this time I feel like they're a lot more considered with what they're saying. But that being said, the rivalry between these two characters is still really, really great. And you do see this character towards the end of this season re-exploring surrogacy. And what I would say about Christine is that you can really see that she has worked so much on her own self-worth and her own self-belief. And if anything, I feel like this is really, really empowering, and I feel like this character should do a lot more from that point of view and really help other characters increase their self-worth as well. I feel like this character would be even more prominent if she was able to do that. Next, let's talk about Anna. Shay, still a super iconic character. Absolutely love the fact that she has just got so much presence and just is a true icon. I absolutely love her sequences with Jamie, as you can really see a much more playful side to this character, which I feel like is really her true self coming out, which I thought was really, really wicked. Like I'm saying with all of the other characters, not as great as last time, but I feel like her sequences are really, really wicked. I feel like last season she was just so much fiercer, so much more memorable. I feel like this season was a little bit more tamer, especially from Anna's point of view, as last time she was just absolutely hilarious. And I'm really hopeful that next time around they really do bring this character, along with all of the other ones, to the forefront so much more. Next, let's talk about Jamie, as we just mentioned her. And actually, by contrast, this character was so much more prominent than last time, and I thought she was absolutely hilarious and super oblivious. The way in which she couldn't even recognize or tell the fact that Louis Tan, the character from Mortal Kombat, is flirting with her. And also the date that she then went on with shopkeeper Henry, where she didn't even allow him to speak. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. This character is really, really funny. I would question whether or not she actually knows this and is doing all of it on purpose, and is just a bit of an act and a character that she is creating. But regardless, I thought Jamie was absolutely hilarious. Next, let's talk about Cherie. I feel like this character really had the potential to absolutely steal this season and really make it all about her, as the first couple of episodes were alluding to the fact that this character actually slept with Jessey while he was still married with kids with another woman, and then kind of stole him away and then had kids with him. So I feel like that storyline could have been really, really interesting. I wish they would have explored it. But obviously Cherie, Jessey and their kids then decided to leave Bling Empire, so we never got a bit of a confrontation happening with Kane and all of the other characters. But like I said, this shocking revelation could have been really, really interesting had they explored it. Hopefully Jamie will return for the third season and then we can kind of see this happening. But either way, I just feel like from a cast and characters point of view, whilst all of the characters and cast members were really, really great, I just feel like they weren't bringing it as much as they did last time. So the visuals of any show set in LA and in Beverly Hills never disappoint, and of course Bling Empire is no exception, as all of the sequences look really, really cool. Loads of parties taking place, loads of mansion sequences taking place. I absolutely loved it in the final few episodes where you got to see Kevin and Kelly in particular in that breaking room where you can break everything and let out all of your pent-up emotions. I thought that sequence was really, really cool. Obviously the date that Kevin and Kim went on, where they went on a bit of a road trip, was really, really cool. And seeing the Dorothy character buying a new place in New York City was really, really great. Like I said, all of the sequences from a visuals point of view were really, really great. But I just don't think there were as many extravagant, massive, luscious parties as there were last time around. But that being said, there was still a lot of bling in this season, which is really, really great from a visuals perspective. So from a comparisons perspective, even though Bling Empire is definitely pretty unique in its offering, I feel like you can definitely compare it to other shows and movies as well. The most obvious movie to compare it to is of course Crazy Rich Asians, which was a fictionalized version of the crazy lives of Asian people. And I feel like this is really, really great in terms of focusing on it from a reality TV perspective, in terms of the real lives of crazy rich people. But also, because it is a Beverly Hills based reality TV series, I feel like you can definitely compare it to the Real Wives of Beverly Hills, Rich Kids of Beverly Hills, The Hills, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Selling Sunset, Made in Chelsea, and Love Island as well. I feel like there are loads of TV shows that you can definitely compare Bling Empire to. But like I said, it is pretty unique in its offering, as well as the characters that it's focusing on as well. So I'm really, really hopeful that we soon get an announcement that the third season of Bling Empire has been commissioned, but it is really difficult to be able to know this, as Netflix and loads of the other studios at the moment are just cancelling shows left, right and centre. But if we do get a third season, then here are some of my predictions of what could take place. So by the end of the second season, we get to see somewhat of a bit of a connection happening between Christine as well as with Anna as well, and they are seemingly soon going to be going and confronting the Kane character for creating a bit of a scene and creating a bit of a tension-based scenario. happening between these two characters. So I'm really, really hopeful. I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like. Speaking of Anna, we also had a bit of a cliffhanger with the Andrew character finally returning, obviously very noticeably absent across this season, even though he was a pretty big character in the first season. So I can't wait to see how he's going to be trying to win back the Kelly character and the impact that this is going to have across the group. I feel like we are going to get loads of new love interests for the Kevin character, maybe for the Kane character, for the Kim Lee character, for Jamie. I just can't wait to see some new blood entering this space, and I'm really hopeful that we also get Louis Tan back, as he is a bit of a superstar from Hollywood. It'd be really, really wicked to see him integrated into this group as well. I'm really hopeful also that we get a big dramatic return of Cherie as well. Really, really wicked in the first season, and so much potential in the second season if we had explored a lot more of the situation happening between her and Jessey and the past exes as well. And finally, I feel like because of the fact that Jessey and Cherie were leaving, then they brought in Mimi and her husband, which literally did feel a lot like Kris Jenner and Bruce Jenner as well. I feel like they were really, really quickly brought into this series to kind of replace the Cherie character. So I'm thinking we'll see a lot more of them as well, as the sequences that we did see with them were really, really interesting, especially from an older demographical point of view for what Asian people are like in Beverly Hills. But either way, I'm really, really excited about what could happen in the third season of Bling Empire. So overall, with Bling Empire Season 2, I feel like it was a really, really great season. Not as slick or as great as the first season, but still definitely worth watching. I feel like if my timeline is correct, they actually filmed this season around August last year. So a lot has obviously happened since then. So hopefully we get that announcement of a third season coming very, very soon. But either way, it was really, really great to kind of revisit all of these characters and the scandalous lives of all of these Asians in Beverly Hills. And I can't wait to return to them very, very soon, hopefully. But either way, as far as the second season is concerned, as an overall score, I'm going to give it 6.5. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of the second season of Bling Empire. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.